There was no lighting in the little stable, and I knew that you could turn manure into energy. So what we did initially was go to industry sector expert engineers who'd done it all before in larger scale, and then I guess the next team was people who'd never done it before, who could think with a blank piece of paper completely differently.
So Sandra, today I think instead of going all the way back into your childhood, which we sometimes do, just a while back, I'd actually just like to start with the point of inspiration that catalyzed SEaB, like the company itself. I mean, where did this come from? Where did you conceive the idea for what you're doing today? And then we'll get into what you're doing.
Okay, so as some of you know, I get up really early because my business is in the UK, and so the guy Bill at the desk here knows that I'm up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning taking care of business. So SEaB was conceived at probably 5 o'clock in the morning, loading a really nasty little pony named Ladybird into the back of a trailer in the dark in a muddy, wet, cold winter's morning where in the UK it's pitch black. And there was no lighting in the little stable, and I knew from experience from conversations that we had at home that you could turn manure into energy. And I wanted to know why the pile of manure that was over behind the stable wasn't actually lighting this thing so that this pony couldn't kick me yet one more time as I was trying to coax it into the back of the trailer to take my daughter to a competition. And so I opened my mouth and said, well, why can't we make it a small unit that can take that amount of waste and make it energy?
There's such a different startup story. So Ladybird, the miniature pony, was literally kicking you.
Yeah, Ladybird, the miniature pony, kicking and probably shitting all over me. And the concept of turning that into energy really was going to make my life better because it was loading in the dark and then bringing it back and having to hose it down with ice cold water.
Yeah.
And that was also a really nice experience where you would get this pony kicking you. And so, of course, the next time you went to load it, it was even less interested in getting in the back of the trailer.
So I think a lot of people, wish that something was different. Have an idea, it would be nice if that, manure would power that light. But I think very few people, take that and turn that, that inception of a realization into a company. What was the next move?
Well, there were shipping containers there too. So they had shipping containers that they were using for storage for the feed so that the rats and things couldn't get to it. Yeah. And they had shipping containers that were secure units. And it was sort of like, well, why couldn't you just put another shipping container behind it and put the manure in it instead of paying or having the farmer come along every week and take it and throw it on the field? So.
And was this your background? Did you? No.
I wasn't in poop to power until I started this business.
That's the slogan.
And that's not mine. So I'm in this business with my husband.
Yeah, okay.
And he coined the poop to power. And I went, no, we can't do that. That can't be the slogan.
Is it the slogan?
It can't be SEaB Energy poop to power. It just doesn't work that way.
So in essence, all the components were actually there, but this isn't your expertise. Yeah. I mean, how did this become real? Did you go back and Google poop to power? I mean, what?
There's a whole section of pages on poop to power.
Yeah.
No, so my background is launching new product into new markets. So that's what I do. And Nick's background is, or was, consulting and doing strategy for PricewaterhouseCoopers in the renewable sector. So the combination of having looked at all sorts of renewable technologies and then coming up with this, well, maybe there could be something here. Maybe we could actually, in fact, do distributed power generation in a box.
So then how do you, I'm sorry I'm asking so many how questions, but how do you go from, maybe we could do this to actually doing it?
So the UK government has a program, a little bit like State Department, where they do export trade missions, and they found out what we were doing, or what we were thinking about doing, and they invited us to go to, of all places, Vegas. And so we went to a renewable energy trade show. The first thing we did, we had nothing. We didn't even have a logo. So I went, oh my God, we might need to hand something out. We better have a logo. We need a brochure. We need to be able to describe what it is that we're going with. So we did a little fold-out brochure, and Nick and I got on a plane and we went to Vegas. And actually, for this, we're Tile 13, which is climate action. And some people here know 13 is our lucky number for the business, because the first trip we went on was flight 13 from gate 13, and we were sitting in row 13. And I went, there you go, that's our lucky number. It better be our lucky number. We're going to Vegas, and it better match up. So we did 13 as a lucky number for the business. So when this came out and you said, or actually Evan said, Evan's not here anymore, but he said, you're going to be number 13. I went, there you go. That's why. That's actually why I said yes, don't tell him that. I went, if I hadn't been 13 now, 14 now, I wouldn't have done. So we went to Vegas, and we had, the UK government had taken the main stand at the entrance of this renewable energy trade show. And they had given us these little pods that were basically a thing and then a little table that was just big enough to put brochures and a laptop on. And we stood there and we went, well, we got to talk about our business. So we had this pitch that we did, and both of us, and then the one person had canceled. So we now had both sides of this pod. So we were husband and wife, so one of us on either side talking about the business. So the first day we had a crowd of people, and the second day we had and there were other pods with other businesses, and the other people were less crowded. And the second day we were inundated, and there was a line of people in depth, and so the other pod people were coming in the back and handing out our brochures. And then the third day, the other people from the other companies came over and said, can we come work for you? And I went, actually, I think we might have a business here. Yeah. So we didn't have a product yet. So we went back and we went, no, we had to make what we told all these people we have. So. What about it? Market test.
What do you think was so compelling? Why did so many people show up?
Because what we did, we created, so a lot of people here have created a business from tech and then gone to market. Yeah. We looked at the market and created a product for a market that we identified. So we identified a market sector and we said, if we can build it. So what we then did is we went to the engineering team, we created an engineering team, and I gave them a bill of material price. And I remember this engineer coming up to me and saying, how the hell can you know the price of the bill of materials when we haven't even started the design? We haven't put pen to paper. And I said, well, there's only so much energy that you can create from this footprint, right? So there's like a volume. So I can only sell that energy for so much. So if you're going to give a return to the customer, you have to build it for that. So go away and make me a design that fits in a box that doesn't cost this more than this. Yeah. And they were hired in 3 months. They were on a 3-month contract. Wow. There were 10 of them. We put them in, and it was in our back garden. We put them in what was an old converted stable block. We gave them desks, and we gave them that. So you have the size, the output, the what it has to do, and the cost. And you should be able to design that. And 3 months later, with a lot of interaction in between, they came back and they said, here's our design. And I said, well, that's great. So how much does this cost, this bill of materials? You costed it all up. So I'd given them 80,000 pounds. The bill of materials was 300,000 pounds. And they went, so Monday morning, we need our new contracts. And I went, Monday morning, just don't bother coming back. Because you obviously didn't listen to the guidelines. You didn't design something that I'm going to be able to sell. I don't have a business. If you build something for 300,000 that I'm selling for 80, that doesn't 100 or whatever. There's definitely no margin in that. Right? And so we started again, and we went through another rendition, and we finally got it.
And what did you do differently?
We didn't do it differently. We just hired differently. I think we were really, it was like this is the remit. Start here. Don't just come and think that. So what we did initially was go to industry sector expert engineers who'd done it all before in larger scale, and we thought they could mentally just shrink it down. And then I guess the next team was people who'd never done it before, who could think with a blank piece of paper completely differently and might go find something from, I don't know, a garden center, or who might go and make something. And that innovation is what went into the box to make it fit, to make it meet the price point, and to give us a business.
You needed people to think outside of the box.
Oh yeah,
in the box.
Definitely.
So how many years ago was this?
Almost 8.
Almost 8 years ago. So now where is SEaB Energy as a company now?
So we did 6 years of version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4, version 4.8, and we did alpha testing, beta testing, so we did all the field testing and all of that. And last year, 2016, we commercialized, and we picked up our first £3 million worth of business, so $4.5 million of business, and then this year we're scaling rapidly with a lot more.
Yeah. And this year, what do you think the target would be in terms of multiples?
Yeah, 10x.
10x?
Yeah.
It's a good year. Awesome.
Yeah. So if we can deliver that fast.
Yeah. And so before we go further, though, can you now describe what the business is, what the technology does to anybody who's listening?
So what does it do? It takes waste in, could be poop, goes into a box. The bacteria eat it, so it's anaerobic digestion in a box, which is not new technology. Anaerobic digesters exist all over the world in small scale, in people's back gardens, so there are tens of thousands of them across India and China. The difference between ours and what's been out there is that it's fully automated. And so that fully automated piece of equipment is the differentiator. And you get out of it, from ours, you get biogas. We're getting very good quality gas because of what we've done in the box. And that runs an engine or gets bottled into bottles so that you can store it and use it later. And it also produces fertilizer, and you can use that fertilizer as a liquid, or you can separate it again and take the water content out and keep the dry fertilizer.
And what types of applications? Who's buying this? Just and maybe on opposite ends of the spectrum, like who are customers for this?
Who are customers? Hospital, doing catering waste.
Okay, so the food waste can go into it.
So food waste. We're doing sewage for a new build building in Ghana. We're doing supermarket waste for a company in Portugal. We're doing a waste collector site where they were bringing the waste, they were separating it, and then they were transporting it yet again. We've eliminated that second set of transport. So we're in 4 countries, going into 3 or 4 more.
Yeah. So going from 3 million last year to potentially 30 million this year, like 10x on revenue, that is a huge year. What has been, if you could bottle the wisdom in terms of your ability to sell this, like what has made this work so well? Why is the market so responsive?
No idea. Why is the market so responsive? I don't know. They get a return on investment, so the customer, it pays for itself. I think that I think we're still with early adopters. I don't think we've hit an open market yet. I think these are people that are thinking, wow, this is kind of cool. I could do something different, and it doesn't really cost me anything. It pays for itself. So yeah, I could try that. That's who we're still selling to. It's not the big general marketplace yet. It's not, I need, it doesn't get specified in. I mean, our goal is to get everybody, all the, the new building builders and everybody else to go, I need an air conditioning unit, and I need a little bit of lighting, and I need one of those waste units. That's the goal. That's not where we're at. We're at, what do we do with the waste? Okay, somebody comes in, let's get a contract in place. And that shift hasn't happened yet.
So it pays for itself, you said. So what's the cycle on that?
3 to 5 years.
So you buy one of these things, it eats your waste, turns into fuel, pays for itself in 3 to 5 years, and then you make money thereafter?
Yep. It's got a 20-year life. I mean, it's with all of the operating costs built in, it pays for itself.
Okay, so now transition to 2 more questions, just personal though, which is, what has it been like to go through, the trials and tribulations of a startup with your husband as your co-founder?
The husband's a co-founder. Yeah, that was interesting. I mean,
you said was. What happened?
Well, no. So we started out. I mean, I don't know if anybody else here has done their business with either a family member or a close friend, so a co-founder. I think co-founder is quite interesting. So you start the thing together, and you're essentially equals, right? You have to. You have the concept. You decide to start it. Everything's go. And then we got to the stage where there were, I want to say, 5 people in the business. And 2 of the senior people called me over and said, we need to talk to you. And we sat down and they said, we can't deal with this co-director business. It's not working at all for us. And I said, okay, so what do you have a suggestion? And they said, well, one of you needs to step up and one of you needs to step aside. And I said, okay, all right, well, I'm sure that that's workable. And they said, well, actually, we've decided. And you're going to step up and he's going to step aside. And I went, oh, okay, all right, that's going to be quite an interesting conversation at home. And I think that's the message, is it's not just work, it's also home. And you've got to work the two together. And I mean, we've been doing it for a while, and I can't say it's not without tension. It is definitely, it's hard. But we try and always keep it outside of work. So that nobody in the company feels it, and the tension is definitely at home. So if we have something to argue about, it's at home. It's not in the workplace. But it works. We're happy with what the company is doing, and I think that success, we also really enjoy sharing it with each other. So we're a team in life anyway. So we enjoyed being with each other. We spent a lot, and at work we don't spend a lot of time together. So I think it's been fine. I think if we did exactly the same thing, we had the same talents, and we were exactly the same people, we'd drive each other crazy. I think that we like, I'm here and he's back there. So I've just had 2 weeks now, and so is he. Right?
So maybe last question. This is a little bit of a cliche question, but I think the answer won't be, which is, if you could go back to the start of this, co-founding a company with your husband, not having expertise necessarily in the sector, going through first prototype didn't work. Sounds like you went to multiple prototypes thereafter. Like, what perspective or advice would you give yourself at the start of this journey?
Yeah. So I remember I would put my business hat on rather than my wife hat on. So I sat there and he went, oh, this will be easy. So we had the concept, right? We did the trade show and all that, and then we still hadn't really gone sort of fully into this business. We were testing it. And I remember the day when he went, yeah, it'll only take 6 months, and then it'll be perfect. And I went, okay, yeah, I can see that. And now, in hindsight, 8 years later, I'm going, that was really, what the hell was I doing? So the hat wasn't on. The business hat was skewed by, so I would say, always keep your business hat on, especially if you're dealing with someone who's really close to you.
But it worked.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet. We still need to get profitable. So that's the next goal, is profitability. We're not 100% there. We should hit profitability this year.
Well, Sandra, I'm sure you're going to get there this year. Thank you so much for the conversation.